one countdown thing?
Absolutely. Blast off.
Yeah, it makes it feel a little special.
I have invited so many people to this thing, and I had people messaging me just like a moment ago. I see it. I had people messaging me just like a moment ago, and they're like, where are you? Where is this thing going to be? So I am super, super inspired to be here right now, and we're live certainly on my page. We're live on my business page, which I think was where most people are going to be going. I promoted this thing far and wide to try to get. I'd like to get as many people involved in this as possible, because we're talking about something really important tonight. You know, we're in this state right now. Hey, do you mind if I just kick this thing off?
Please go for it.
I'll tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to kick this off, and then we'll do introductions for the people who are here with us for the first time. Yes. You know, if that makes sense. And then we'll just go. So listen, we are entering the post-COVID world, and in the post-COVID world, a lot of people who have been staying home, who have been working from home, even on their jobs working from home, a lot of those people, they're getting that call, that triangle. They're sticking that triangle out the window, and they're going ding, 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 ding. And you're like, what is that noise? And then you look out the window, and they're like, come on, come on. You got to come back to the office. You got to go back to that small cubicle with your cloth chair that who knows who sits in that thing, and it smells, right? And you got the stinky carpets, and you got the small desk and the crappy kitchen, and you got all your coworkers who are complaining about everything in their lives. And suddenly you go back to work, and you're sitting there, and you're like, I just stayed home for 18 months, and now I got to be back sitting here. And you're like, I just had a realization. And you know what that realization, Bridget, is that these people have. They realize they hate their jobs.
Exactly.
I'm not asking Stephen, because Stephen loves his job. So
I was about to say, there's a disclaimer here. There's like a legal disclaimer that I want to say, that like, I love my job. I love the people I work with. I even love my cubicle, but we'll talk about that later.
I know you love your job, and you work at an amazing place. You know, the Orlando Law Group is an amazing place. So like we know.
Don't let it derail you. Don't let it derail.
There is a whole group of people right now who are going back to work, and they're sitting there and they're like, man, I enjoyed working from home for the past 18 months. And it's like, that's the spark that like triggers and says, okay, I've worked for you from home for 18 months. I think I might want to give a go at doing something on my own, since you're making me come back to the office, and I'm realizing I don't really like it here. There's a whole bunch of people like that, Bridget.
Oh, 100%. But there's also those people who were at home. Listen, we're not going to tell on you guys, at home with your 9-to-5 job, doing the Zoom, but you've created a side hustle. And now you are thinking about, man, this side hustle feels good. And you're thinking about making it a full-time thing for you, because you've tasted that freedom. You've tasted that creativity. And now you're curious if you could make it fly full-time.
So there's a couple of different people that are affected by this. There are the people, like you said, that have developed that side hustle while they've been working from home, and they're called back to the office, and they're like, well, hold on a second. That side thing was a whole lot more fulfilling than this. But then you have the people that are back in the office that are like, I felt like I had my own thing for the last 18 months, even though I didn't. I was just working for these people from home. I wonder if I can create my own business and do it from home. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I've got an itinerary right down here. This is all the stuff that we're going to talk about over the next half an hour. It's somewhere, Bridget, we'll find it. But before we do, just some quick introductions. Down there in the lower square is Stephen Carroll. Stephen is the marketing director for the Orlando Law Group, who are the most amazing law group here in Central Florida.
To give them a testament and a testimony, like I work in an office, and all that stuff doesn't even apply to me. Like I love the people, the energy's perfect, like what we do is perfect. So, and I know a lot of people who have worked at offices where that wasn't the case, or worked in an environment where that wasn't the case. It's not just offices. You go around a lot of places. They will have a lot of signs saying we can't find someone to work this job, and you gotta ask yourself, what are these people doing? I can guarantee you they are not just sitting around doing nothing. So it's very difficult for that.
Stephen, I'm glad you could be here with us tonight. And we do know Orlando Law Group is an amazing place to work. And I'm inspired that you can be here.
Best.
Over here on this side of me is Miss Bridget Hom. Bridget, you are a personal development coach. You are, you're not a life coach. You're not a business coach. You help people in all areas of their life. Bridget, what I love about what you do in your program, Bridge to Freedom Coaching, is that you help people discover how to partner with their future successful self. And you also teach people how to release all of the negative things that have been holding them back. And that's the most inspiring thing in the world for me. So Bridget, glad you could be here. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me introduce Mr. Christopher Prouty, who I just pitched like to 10 different people in my one-on-one today, because they were saying that they didn't have an online presence in their businesses and they didn't know how to reach them. And I said, you need to talk to Chris Prouty. If you don't know him yet, he's everywhere, and he can help you get to a 5-figure income a month by creating free Facebook posts. And they looked at me and said, how do I do that? And I said, here's the calendar link.
Incredible. Thank you so much for that introduction. I want to get right to this because I want people that are here to know that they're in the right place. And so if you're somebody like that we described, if you've developed a side hustle and you're back at the office and you're like, boy, that side hustle seems very attractive to me. Or if you're back at the office and you're like, I wish I could do something on my own, you're in the right place. And the things that we're going to go through today are the exact steps that we took, that Bridget and I took to exit the workforce and go into entrepreneurialism. For me, it was 21 years ago. Bridget, for you, about 14 years ago?
Yeah, something like that, Chris.
Yeah. So we'll go through. When you were 10, we're going to go through the exact steps that we followed to do that, but we're also going to go through the steps that we have helped others do it. Bridget, you've worked with hundreds of people, and I have worked with thousands in the 2+ decades that I have been doing this. So I want to uncover all of these things for you, because if you're able to get these things right, you're going to be unstoppable. You're absolutely going to be unstoppable. You're going to be able to create that business. You're going to be able to get profitable, find clients, and you're not going to look back. It's that simple. I can't even imagine looking back. I quit my job on a Friday. I was a corporate trainer, and I quit my job on a Friday. Literally walked in, spent 2 hours in traffic getting there, felt unfulfilled, unbalanced, felt no sense of self-worth in this thing. I went in on a Friday. I erased my laptop in the Friday morning meeting. I just tossed it over and I said, I think today's my last day. And I went with no parachute, no safety net, no nothing, and started my own thing. And that was 21 years ago.
You know, I actually have a job experience that I'd love to share. And here's the side note for all of you folks who are working in your 9-to-5s and you think your employer doesn't know that you're thinking about something else. They can smell entrepreneurs, okay? I walked into my boss's office. I was actually a legal news reporter at the time. Wow. And I said, hey, how's it going? He goes, oh, I'm good. How are you? And I just said, I'm fine. And he goes, you hate your job. And he said, you hate your job. And guess what? I know that you are capable of so much more than what you're doing here. And I support you in doing this. You don't have to stay here another day. Now, that was a good scenario, right? You know, walk away in like good vibes. But they know if you are not inspired at your job where you're at right now, you're not the only one who feels that way. So it's just another side note to keep in mind.
That's great. And thank you so much for sharing that story with us. So I want to get right to this because there are people that are here that really want this information. I want to impact these lives. I want to give them the stuff that they can use straight away. So let's just get this thing going. And the very first thing that we're going to talk about, and you can see right about down here, there's the list of things we're going to talk about. The very first thing I want to talk about is back into it. And I want to talk to you about a really solid way of determining if you can leave your job and start your own thing. And you really do need to back into it. And here's what I mean by that. The common way of that people who start entrepreneurialism go is that they say, I have a skill set and I suspect people in the market want this skill set. And so they take their skill set and they make this big business out of it without having any clients, without knowing if the market truly wants it. So what do? They build a website because that feels good. They get a logo because that feels good.
Get those business cards.
Yeah, they get business. They get business cards because that feels good. And then they go to, they go to a chamber or a BNI or a Zoom meeting and they say, here I am and here's what I do. It's crickets and there's nothing because they went forward into it. My guidance to you is to back into it. And here's what I mean by that. I want you to pick a group of people that you wish to serve. Caution here. Don't pick too narrow a niche. You're going to hear a lot of people telling you to niche down. I want you to ignore those people. I call those people idiots. Because if you niched down prior to COVID and you niched down to gym owners, you'd be broke and poor right now. If you niche down to restaurant owners, you wouldn't have a business right now. So very cautiously pick the group of people you wish to serve. Perhaps you wish to serve moms. That's a good niche to pick. It's narrow enough where you can define it and someone can understand it, but not so narrow that if COVID hits again, you're going to be out of business, okay? Pick that niche, and then here's what I want you to do. This is how you back into a business. You explore that niche, and you find a problem that they have that you can solve. You might not need to be able to solve it straight away. You might just find that problem that you wish to solve. Then you can go back and find the solution to that problem and bring it to the market. You see, you've backed into the consultancy or you've backed into your business. And so you have found the group that you wish to serve. You found the biggest pain point or problem that they have that's not being solved by anyone else. And then you find the solution that they would be willing to pay you for to solve it. Now you have something that is known to be wanted by that niche. Bridget, what do you think?
Oh, 100%. I love what you're talking about here because it's about researching. It's about finding that problem that people are experiencing and figuring out what the solution is. And I love how, oftentimes when I talk to people and the clients that I talk to, they get too narrow. They get so focused on this avatar, on this target market that they don't even realize they may have talked to 5 people today who desperately needed their solution, but they said, oh, no, you're not my target market. And we close the doors on potential clients all the time. So I teach people not target market, but target message. If you're able to create that space for your potential clients that you don't even know could be clients, because you do have a solution that can be widely used by many people, then if you listen, if you actually hear the problems that people are experiencing, you might find that you can serve exponentially more people than you thought if you get rid of that limiting belief.
It's a great way of putting it. I've got clients that I've worked with. I have one client that I'm thinking of in particular. He was from Vancouver. He came to me with no business at all. He had nothing. And he said, I've just been told by people that I should work with you, but I don't have a business. And so we talked about it for a long time before I made the offer for him to come on board and work with me as a client. And within an hour, we were able to find the problem that his target market needed, which is videography. The guy does videography. We were able to clearly define it and we were able to rapidly test it. And then he approached the market. This is less than a year ago. This dude is traveling the world right now doing videography for businesses. He is sought after. He sends me videos of himself sitting in hot tubs in Mexico saying, hey, look at this. When you back into it, you have a problem that you can solve. And you go after that problem. You're no longer guessing. You're using data to approach it. Bridget, go ahead.
I would love to share also, someone that I was working with as well couldn't figure out who her target market was. Yep. And I said, what are you inspired by?
Beautiful.
What inspires you? We talked about a variety of problems and they said, this is the problem that I'm inspired by. Yeah. And therefore, that solution is within you as a potential entrepreneur.
Stephen, you're a problem solver. You agree?
Yeah, you are.
Listen to what you guys are talking about. It really makes me think, when you pick out this problem and you find this solution, this is one of the most important things because, of course, most of the marketing that I've done has been for, attorneys or real estate agents. And trust me, in Orlando, there are a lot of attorneys and a lot of real estate agents, and And no matter what you choose to do, if you choose to be a personal coach or a marketer, there's going to be tons of people competing. It's the ones that have that insight into these unique problems and have unique fixes for unique problems. When that becomes your foundation for what you're going to build your business on, you're immediately setting yourself apart from all the other underwater basket weavers. And that's just the truth.
Totally agree. I'm really glad you brought that up. Now, once you've identified your niche or your market and you found the problem that you wish to solve, if you can solve it straight away, it's time to test the market. If you can't solve it straight away, you do need to go back and do the research to find the solution to this problem that you can bring to the market. But no matter what, you're going to have to approach the market at some point to test whether or not your market will pay you to solve this problem. You should be able to do this rapidly. Like I'm talking, Bridget, like just a couple of days to be able to get this done. To test your market, you simply approach your market and you present them with a solution to the problem that they're having. You can do it in a very non-salesy type way. You probably have friends within your niche. It's great to approach those people and say, hey, look, I have a solution to this problem that I know you have. Would you be willing to let me solve this problem for you? You might have to do it for free at first, but then if you do it for free, we need to respect the law of fair exchange. You must ask them for something in return, even if it's not monetary. A video testimonial is the perfect thing to ask for. So if you could find 3 people within that niche that you can then solve that problem for in exchange for a video testimonial, you have proven that this market wants this solution. You have tested the market. So you have identified your niche, you found a problem that you wish to solve, you bring those 2 things together, you have a solution, you bring it to the market, you see if you can get 3 people to exchange something with you for it. If it's not money, it's a video testimonial, preferable that it's money, but go for the video testimonial because you can use that with other people in the market. And now all of a sudden you've made the snowball at the top of the hill. It's time to push that snowball and let it take momentum. Bridget, your thoughts?
Well, when people are doing research and when they start asking for those video testimonials or when they start charging, oftentimes they have a hard time figuring out how to price whatever they're selling, their consulting, their program, etc. And I say it's all about your deservability. When we start out, we're not at the same price point as we are now because there is an equal exchange of value. There is the value equilibrium, as I like to call it.
Wow.
So you start pricing things based on your deservability, where you're at, what people are seeing the value in, the solution that you're providing. And that's how you create the pricing for your plan in the entrepreneurship world. If people see it valuable and you feel that is an equal exchange of value, that is how you price their program. That's a lot of the questions that I get. Like the people who start programs, they create these amazing consulting programs and then they go, how do I price that? I say, well, let's put some numbers down. Where do you feel that your deservability is right now? And then you just go for it. Like you said, you just jump off that cliff and make moves.
Well, you know what? That's coming up in a couple of items. If you take a look, make moves. Bridget, what you're talking about when I work with my clients, we call that the law of fair exchange. There needs to be fair exchange between you and the person for whom you're working. If you are not being compensated fairly for the work you're doing, you're going to feel resentful to your clients and you're not going to want to work for them and you're not going to do your best job. And if you over deliver and they don't pay you enough, they're going to feel out of balance as well. If you overcharge and you don't deliver, they're also going to feel out of balance. You've got to find that right balance where you don't feel resentful and your client doesn't feel like they're being overcharged. A lot of market research goes into that. I'm thinking of one client that I met with, this is just about a year ago. She does outsourced back office type services. And she came to me in our first meeting and I said, tell me about your rates. And she told me her rates and I said, your rates are half what they should be based on what you're telling me you can do. That terrified her, but she raised her rates that afternoon, instantly doubled her revenue because her rates were half of what they should have been. And that was an interesting trend. She's now a client, and that was a beautiful transformation for her. So second step, you've got to test the market. So first step, you backed into it. You found a problem in a group that you are inspired to serve, and you know you can solve that problem. Then you brought that problem, or you brought that solution to the market, and you found that people will accept you giving them that solution, and they will give you something in return, whether it's monetary or some kind of a testimonial, as long as we're obeying the law of fair exchange or the equilibrium, Bridget, as you talked about. Now, Bridget, the next thing that we're going to talk about is partnering with your future successful self. That is your area of expertise. And I know that's what you work with your clients on. Before we do that, quick reminder, what we're talking about tonight is how to ditch your full-time job and start that consultancy or start that gig and never look back. And I want to check in on the chat because I don't have the chat up, but I do know that a lot of people love to chime in on the chat. And I'm just going to call out some people. I see Greg Havas is out there. Peter Biadage is out there. Rebecca Giacobbe is out there. Larry Schneider is always here with us. I love seeing him. Eileen Ryan is the queen of their career. Now she's here for you when you go in the opposite direction. When you're ready to go into the workforce, Eileen Ryan is the one that you want to speak to. And I'm just going to scroll through and make sure we don't have any questions that are just sitting out there. David Hall is out there. You know what I love about David Hall is that guy went all in on his texting service. He helps businesses with permission-based texting to help them market to their clients. And it's just amazing. That guy went all in on that. David Pollock is joining us tonight. Michelle Murder, there's another chick. Ooh. She is an absolute powerhouse. Thanks everybody for being with us here tonight. There's Albert Wolf, who is checking in as well. Terrific information. He says, if you do have questions while you're out there, drop those into the chat. Every once in a while, I'm going to pop in here and look and see if there's a question for us to answer. Bridget, I toss it back over to you. Talk to us about partnering with your future successful self and what an impact that can have as someone's making the transition from W-2 job to working for themselves.
Well, we're gonna dive deep into this one because this is really all about mindset. And if you don't have the right mindset, you don't have a launch pad for going into the success that you deserve. And so when I talk about the future successful self, it's aligning with your future self as a destination and then working backwards. And I want to make a little sidebar note here. If you are in the 9-to-5, if you do have a side hustle, you are in the employee mindset, and it is very different from the entrepreneur mindset. So because your time frame, how you structure your day is run by somebody else. And then when you become an entrepreneur, guess what? That structure is now up to you. And if you don't get structured in your mind, then you will start to live under the influence and your environment will start to become chaotic and you won't know which way to turn. So just a side note, make sure you have someone who you can partner with to get into the right mindset if you are making the shift. It is much more than just the external ways of change. It is a complete internal transformation. So the future successful self, Chris, you and I have talked about this. When you partner with your future successful self, it is an absolute game changer because your conscious mind, let's think about it in terms of sales. Your conscious mind is your salesman. So your conscious mind is your thoughts, your words, your actions, your emotions, and your beliefs. And your conscious mind sells to your subconscious mind, who's responsible for your programming.
Wow.
And you on a moving sidewalk towards your destination, which should be your future successful self. Because if you're setting goals and not anchoring them to something much larger than what you're doing right now, then you are setting up goals. You're going to get tired because you don't have an anchor, a vision that's large enough to get you to that place where you are going, where you deserve to be.
Yeah, and Bridget, you reminded me of something while you were talking, and it is about the mindset of the entrepreneur and how it's so much different than the 9-to-5. It didn't even occur to me. We're at work right now. Where we are, it's 8:30 p.m. In the Eastern time zone, or almost 8:30. You and I are at work right now. It didn't even occur to me. But that's the mental shift that your future successful self has that you might not have as a 9-to-5er that you need to explore and you need to unlock. I'm at work right now and I don't even think of it. And it's people will say, do what you love and it won't seem like work. Let me make that a little bit different. If you align your goals with what inspires you the most, then it will be automatic. It will be spontaneous. And for me, what inspires me the most is teaching and helping others find their inspiration. What do you think, Bridge?
Oh, absolutely. When you become obsessed with how you help other people to grow and shift and change and transform their business, that ultimately means you help them transform their lives.
Yeah.
You are able to pour in and help them to experience the romance with life, which, that's what my program talks about. It's partnering with your future successful self, having that romance with life, but then it's all about creating those empowering client interactions. And when you're obsessed with what you do and how you add value to others, it is contagious. And
go ahead.
Go on. What are you thinking?
I interrupted. It's all yours.
No. I shifted already. Go.
I'm thinking about a client that is in my flagship program, which is Organic Client Attraction. And she left me a video testimonial on social media. And she literally wrote how Chris Prouty saved my life. I mean, listen, I'm just teaching you how to get clients and grow your business, but she got so much out of it. She considered it to be a life-saving moment. Stephen, what is your future successful self like?
I think envisioning that's very important. And really, for me, it is breaking free of that kind of mindset where I don't call it a 9 to 5. I call it a clock in, clock out mindset, but let me be honest, you have to take breaks. So I'm actually not a big fan of the whole, work for 48 hours because I'm so amazing. And I just worked for 3 days straight and I didn't see any friends. I didn't do anything. I didn't go to Starbucks. I didn't watch a Marvel Cinematic Universe TV show. I didn't do anything worth living or anything like that. So I think my future self is very balanced. Mm-hmm. And I think, I've always said about my future self, and I think I want this for everyone. Balance is a very strong thing. And I think a lot of people overestimate themselves and they underestimate themselves. It's just, you have to know when you're doing that. Yeah. And that's the truth, is you have to know when you're doing that. So, saying something like, I'm going to work for the next 4 days straight, you're overestimating yourself. But saying something like, I can't start a business, that's underestimating yourself. And so finding that balance there is so important. What do you guys think?
I totally agree. Bridget, go ahead.
What I love about what you just said is that it is about the balance.
Yeah.
Because when you enter the entrepreneur life, you have to develop new ways of achieving that balance.
Yeah.
It's a totally different animal. So when you're in the 9 to 5, you're like, okay, 5 o'clock hits. I know my plan. I'm going to Starbucks. I'm going to go hang out with friends, etc. When you are an entrepreneur, nothing is dictating that for you. You have to have that internal clock, that internal compass, and gift yourself that direction. So it's an entirely different animal and shift when you are in the entrepreneur mindset.
I would go so far to say that if you become an entrepreneur to escape the 9 to 5, you may be sorely mistaken to find on the other end of the fence grass that is very similar, because you're going to have to work hard. And so I think that is where I think some people get a little twisted is the fact that, I was supposed to have all this freedom, but it's actually, believe it or not, you now, if you don't have clients in 48 hours, you need to find clients. You need to find some sort of, you got to start doing that. And so I think people, it's an awakening moment for a lot of people, right?
Totally agree. And we've got Joanne checking in saying align goals with inspiration is inspiration to her. She loves what she does. I want people to connect with her because Joanne has some very interesting businesses. One of which is she makes an outdoor futon. And that's
incredible.
She makes an outdoor futon. It's patented and it is highly sought after. Now that is someone who solved a problem. And it's not like people are sitting around going, I wish I had a futon outside. People are sitting in these uncomfortable lawn chairs, or they're not sitting anywhere at all on their patio, or they've got the fold-up chairs that are all broken, or with a picnic table. But there's nothing comfortable about a picnic table. No. She says, hey, look, you know what everybody likes? Futons.
Yep.
And you know what's great about a futon? It's a couch.
Yeah, and
it's a bed.
I mean,
you want to sit around and sip a beverage, you got the couch. You're a little tired on a Saturday afternoon, you want to take a little nap, it's a bed.
Yep.
Everybody connect with her, get one of those futons, put it out on your back deck. You will thank me later. Now listen, I'm going to showcase this comment right now because this one's important. And I hope I get the name right. I'm going to say I'm gonna say it's Carlisa. How do you think? What do you think? How do you think I did that? Carlisa?
I think it's
How about-
Carlika.
I think it's Carlika, maybe. Yeah.
Carlika?
Carlika? Featherstone, though. I mean, the last name is so cool.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's Miss Featherstone. So Miss Featherstone chimes in and she says, that is my biggest fear, taking the leap. And I love that comment because that really does help lead us right in to the next topic, which is making moves. So Miss Featherstone, what I want to say to you is you don't have to take the leap. Right? No one's telling you you've got to go resign tomorrow. That's what I did. But no one's telling you you've got to go resign the job tomorrow or Friday. You don't have to go give your 2 weeks notice. What you have to do, and I'm saying this specifically to you, you have to start taking the steps, the small steps. You can do what we've told you today. You can back into it and still go and work. You can find your niche. You can find the problem that you wish to solve. You can do this in 2 or 3 hours a day in the evenings, and that's going to prime you into that future successful self that has to work at night sometimes, like we do. You can bring it to the market still working at your other job. You can find people and present the offer and the transformation. You can present it all to them and still work. And then you get those 3 that give you the testimonials. And then you get 3 more that are paying you $1,000. And then you get 6, and suddenly your rate goes up to $1,500 or $2,000, depending on what you do. Or if you're in health and wellness, it's a little bit lower. It's like $500 and you get 10 clients. And suddenly that snowball is rolling down the hill. But the only way to do it is to take that first small shuffle step and move towards that goal. You'll never get there standing with your feet planted on the ground, and no one is telling you that you have to take a leap. I would love it if you did, because I know when you take a leap and you have faith, it will present itself to you. And by the way, if you have 6 months of living expenses in the bank, take the leap.
Yes.
But if you don't be fearful. Shuffle those feet and find that inspiration and find that problem that you're inspired to solve and align your goals with your inspiration. Test the market. Partner with your future successful self that is only doing that and only solving that problem, and shuffle and shuffle and shuffle. Miss Featherstone, it will be there for you. Bridget, what do you think?
100%. If you shuffle, you start to build that confidence within yourself. And then that starts to, your reality around you starts to reflect that confidence. You see, when you start to get to that high deservability mode, when you start to see that you are adding value to others and you have a solution that people are starting to seek, you know, Chris, you talk about solution seeking and problem aware, then you build that confidence. Then you start to push out everything else. You start to see everything else as noise, and you start to focus on your future successful self. And then you notice that everything around you is pushing you in that direction. You're moving sidewalk, your subconscious mind is taking you there. So just start with those little steps. And the leap of faith is really just launching into the idea that it is possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, you know, I hear you say all the time, Bridget, that it's all about making moves. It doesn't have to be that leap. Just take 1 millimeter at a time. Just move forward. And what you're going to find is that belief in yourself is going to blossom. Donna Matlock chimes in with trust the process. No one has trusted the process more than that woman. So Donna Matlock she's a beautiful entrepreneur. She's up in Long Island, and she cares about dogs and pets in general more than anyone I've ever seen. And she has a bakery, a commercial kitchen that makes the most amazing dog treats. I want everyone, if you're hearing this live, if you're hearing this in the replay, please do me a favor. Connect with Donna Matlock and get your dog some of those incredible biscuits. You agree with that, Bridget?
Oh, 100%. I did a video testimonial for her with my dog, Odin. He was obsessed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best stuff ever.
Donna is someone who trusted the process, and she took the leap, and she takes those shuffle steps. Now, I will say, in all fairness, she is a client of both of ours. She's in both of our programs, you know, and I see her every week. I saw her this week, and she looked exhausted. And you know what I said to her? Good. You know, because you got to be exhausted sometimes. If everyone could do this, Bridget, if everyone could do this, everyone would do this.
Exactly.
This is really for people who want to exceed and who want to grow. So, go ahead, Bridget.
No, and inspiration is your fuel. Once you're able to harness that inspiration within you, then realize that you can empower every single person around you with some sort of value. Then it's no longer work. You've blurred the lines between life and business. And now you know how to have that romance with life and partner with success. So it's really, Chris, it all comes down to mindset and then rigorous action. Like you said, you will have those tired nights, but you will feel good when you fall asleep at night because you were inspired to do what you did all day long.
Can I just make an observation about taking the leap and about taking those steps? Think of it this way, and I'm going to call out somebody else that I know is in the audience. What's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is you left that job that you didn't like anyways. So you're out of there. So there's a benefit. You tried something. And I'm telling you, if you try it and you follow these steps, back into it, test the market, partner with your future self, make the moves. If you do that, it's going to work. It is going to work because we know we've done this with thousands of people. Yeah. But let's say it doesn't work. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? We're in a world right now where people can't find employees. You could you could go for 6 months right now and try and have it not work. You're going to get a job. You're going to be okay. And I'm going to call out Eileen Ryan, who is in the audience, connect with her, because if you do decide that you need to go back into the workforce, she's the one that's going to get you there. She's a professional recruiter, and she teaches people how to interview to land dream jobs instantly. So you have a safety net for taking the leap. You're not going to live on the streets. If you're here right now, if you've made it this far into the program, you're motivated, you're determined, you're not going to be on the streets.
And I will say, and to go along with what you're saying, Chris, the only way that you will evolve is to change. Yeah. And I will be as honest as I can. It's the only way. It's why we're resistant to it. It's why we're afraid of it, is because we know that once we change, there's no going back. Yeah. But we also know that that's the only way we can evolve ourselves, So really, that's the way I look at it. That's how I negotiate with myself to do these new things or be entrepreneurial.
Donna's talking about how tired she looked at tweet. She needs some of my eye cream.
I saw eye cream and I was like, do you have eye cream, Chris, that you're selling or something?
I want to know what this is.
I don't have an eye cream. You know what I learned a long time ago? When you align your goals with your inspiration, it gives you this. You feel incredibly youthful when you align your goals. I'm an old man. I'm not an old man. I would never even say that. But I'm no spring chick. But because my inspiration and my goals are perfectly aligned, I've got this energy, and it just always comes through. So it's not eye cream, Donna. And I know you. I know you're there. I know you're there, Donna. I know you're going to get there. So this is a very long comment. But my big takeaway from this is remember to breathe.
I love that.
Remember to breathe. Because listen, and I'll say it again. What's the worst that can happen? You got to go find another job somewhere. Or you find a new problem, a new niche, and you try it again, and you keep trying until it hits. And boy, you want to get rich, you find that problem that nobody else has solved, and you solve it for people who will exchange money for you. You go to the moon. So we do need to talk about how to scale, because what you need to be able to do once you've started to execute on this is you need to be able to move rapidly into this. You can't be lollygagging. You can't just be sitting around saying, I'll get to this. It doesn't work that way anymore. Once you've committed to partnering with your future successful self, you've found the problem that you can solve in a niche that inspires you, and you've tested it, and people have said, yes, you're the sole source for the solution I'm seeking, and you start shuffle stepping, well, you got to go. And there are two ways that you can go about doing this. The first way is trial and error. And you can try and make mistakes and then adjust and try again. And trial and error is a great way to do it. The thing that you must realize if you're going to use trial and error as you take this approach is that it's going to take you some time. It could take you months and it could take you years. I've seen it take years for some people. And you just have to know that if you're going to trial and error this, it's going to take some time. And I almost feel a sense of responsibility because I'm sharing all of this great stuff, and Bridget and Stephen were sharing all of this great stuff. But if someone goes out and they have to trial and error this, and they have to take months or they have to take years to figure this out, that bums me out just a little bit. So Bridget, with your permission, I want to give them an alternative to trial and error. Because I see so many people try it. They try to trial and error and they just never quite find the answer. You know what it's like? Here's the analogy. It's like one of those combination locks on the bikes. And you twist all the numbers and it opens up. But if you don't have the numbers, you're just guessing. And it could take you many, many tries before it opens up. Bridget, I want to give them the numbers. I want to give them the numbers. And so what I'd like to do is give you an alternative to trial and error. And that alternative is this. Bridget and I would love to hop on a call with you, a free call, to help you implement and find your strategy for backing into it, testing the market, partnering with your future self, and how to start making moves. We can do it in about 30 minutes. And one of the challenges that we have in this way, sitting here, is we're broadcasting to you. We really can't customize this to everyone that's watching, right? And you're special, and you have individual needs, and you have individual situations. Well, I've got 21 years of experience. Bridget, we won't talk about how many years you have. I want to be respectful because I know you're like 23 years old or something like that. But you have individual needs. We can use our experience to help you do this without having to trial and error. So I'm just going to throw up a quick, I don't know if I can do this really quick. Here's my meeting link. Bridget, I'll throw yours up in a moment.
And, before the entrepreneur, if you're launching into the entrepreneurship world, before you get to the point where you're discouraged, we want to help you exit sabotage and enter success. Because before you start partnering with those ideas that maybe this was the wrong decision and you start to turn back, pause with a purpose, and just set up a 30-minute call to figure out and discern what your next move is.
Now, this isn't going to be, this won't be a call where they get stuck with like an intern or something like that. They're going to get you and they're going to get me on a call for a half an hour, and we're going to go through these 4 steps with them and customize them specifically to their situation. And I love doing that for people. It's part of my inspiration. And it's part of the goals that I have in life, is to help as many people find their own inspiration as possible. Bridget, I know it's yours as well. So I've got my link right there. I think you can see how this works. I think you can see it working for you. All you have to do is hop on, go to your web browser, go proudy.me, and that's going to bring up my calendar. You just set up a time with me. I'll loop Bridget in. Or if you feel like getting on Bridget's calendar and letting her loop me in, it's bridgethom.me. Either one of those, going to get on our calendars. We'll loop the other one in. You get a half an hour with us for a free strategy session where we're going to dig into this for you, your specific situation, and we're going to take you through every single step. And it's really as simple as that. We've done it with so many people, some of the people that we highlighted here tonight, and I would love to be able to do it for you as well, so that you don't have to suffer, and you don't have to struggle, and you don't have to feel imbalanced, and you don't have to guess. I would hate it for somebody to walk away and guess and say, oh, this just doesn't work for me, because it does work for you. And you've seen it in the people that are here tonight that we highlighted. You've seen how it works for others. You deserve it to work for you. And all you have to do is get on one of our calendars. Quick word of warning. Just a quick word of warning. I have to give a warning. The times have changed. Back in 2019, we didn't have the opportunities that existed in front of us right now. But 2020 changed everything, and it opened up opportunities like we've never seen before. And now is the time to capitalize on those before somebody else takes your idea and you watch them whiz past you and you say, that could have been me. So now is the time. You deserve this. And if you've been with us for the last 44 minutes, I can't even believe we've gone so long, Stephen. I can't believe it. If you've been with us, you're a motivated person. You're the kind of person that is exactly right for this. The people that aren't right for this dropped off. They're off watching Taylor Swift videos or whatever they're watching. I don't know what they're watching, Bridget. But the people who are here now, you deserve this. And what I want you to do is grab a time on our calendar so we can customize this strategy just for you. And there's Eileen chiming in, oh, why use trial and error when you can grow with a program that works? Well, we do want to give that to you for, out of our time, do a free strategy session with you. So please grab some time on our schedule. So Bridget, let's bring this thing to a close with a quick recap. You want to go? You want to do the recap?
No, you do it. I like hearing you do the recap.
All right, guys. So here's the summary of everything that we've covered tonight. First thing is to back into it. Instead of saying, hey, I can do this, I know people want to pay for it, and then finding out they don't, back into it. Find the group of people that you wish to serve. Find a problem that no one else has been able to solve, or they can't solve themselves, or they've tried and failed. Find a solution to that problem. That's how you back into a business that inspires you. Then approach the market and test the market. See if you can get 3 people to accept your offer to give them the transformation. And in exchange, they either pay you or they give you some sort of a video testimonial. When you've got that done 3 times, you have a solid test. You know you can bring this thing to wider scale. This is where you partner with your future successful self. You envision yourself in the future and you break through those limiting beliefs and realize that you can do this. And you start taking those small steps every single day, 7 days a week. If it's for a half an hour, 2 hours, while you're working the other job, whatever. Or if you've got 6 months in the bank, you take the leap and realize the worst thing that happens is you got to get another job. And that's not a big deal. And you take those steps and you make those moves. And finally, if you'd like to do all of this without trial and error, without having to guess, grab time on Bridget's calendar, grab time on my calendar. The 2 of us will come together with you. And in that half an hour, it will be the most valuable half an hour you spend in 2021. And it will set the stage for your success. That's it. Stephen, what are your parting thoughts?
Accountability, accountability, accountability. Like that's what you're really talking about here is when you start this, I can almost promise you're going to have no accountability. And when you have a coach, when you have someone that you can trust, when you have someone that you can rely on, and you have someone that is supposed to meet you at a place somewhere, is expecting you to do something, that is accountability. And it's very powerful. And that really justifies everything that you guys do. And when you start that business and you need some legal work done, hit up the Orlando Law Group,
Oh, that's awesome.
Just saying.
Albert Wolf, I am so very grateful for you, my friend. I am looking forward to seeing you on Friday. I'll get with Bridget and make sure that she can be with there. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm very grateful, Albert, that you were here. I'm going to say this. My parting words for you are this. It doesn't matter if you take shuffle steps or you take the leap. Make those moves and realize that you can do this and you have a magnificence that the world is waiting for, and all you have to do is unlock it and bring it to that world. Bridget, give us your final thoughts, and as always, you get the final word.
If you're on this call with us right now, you are here for a reason. You were curious. There is something within you that is wanting to break free. So let's chat about what that looks like. And I will leave you with 2 questions right now. And I want you to ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Wow. And secondly, I want to tell you that your time is now.